Tristan,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but when you move in with someone into the same house or apartment
Mm-hmm.
and they have kids, your spoons disappear.
What?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode number 2 of the Haven Cast. I'm your co-host, Chris Fernandez, and here with co-host Tristan Watts. How you doing,
Hello.
man?
I'm back. I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm here to let you know that we're sticking to the Haven Cast because of people seem to be associating it with a very tragic situation that happened in the 1940s. So,
Yeah, so a little
so
rebranding early on that never hurts anyone.
right. So actually, one of our listeners actually was talking to me about this, and they were listening to the podcast, um, listening to the last one at work, and they heard us saying Havenkost,
Oh
and they
no.
all went like, "Really? You're listening to this?" Um, because they misunderstood. So we're doing Havencast now, which seems
Little
it's not as funny, I guess. I'm not sure it was funny in the first place, but I thought it was witty. So
yeah. For reference, the previous name was a reference to Haagen Dazs, the ice cream.
so nobody questions Haagen-Dazs. So why is this an issue with us?
It's a D versus a C.
That's fair.
Anyway, we have a
That is
lot to
fair.
talk about today.
So where do we begin, Tristan?
uh that's a good question. Where do we begin? Um I guess the first thing we can talk about is Flesh and Blood. There's a couple cool little things coming out, as someone who doesn't play Flesh and Blood is saying right now. Uh, apparently there was a what is it called? Round the Table with the professor from Tolarian Community College.
I'm sharing it on the screen now
Okay.
for the YouTube version of this. So, round the table. So, this is a collaboration that Flesh and Blood creator Legendary Studios, Legendary Story Studios has created with Tolarian Community College, the professor. It is essentially a set of 4 decks that are built to play well against each other in a multiplayer format. The multiplayer format in Flesh and Blood is called Ultimate Pit Fighter. Essentially, it's like a very direct analog to Magic's Commander format.
I wanna interject here real quick. Ultimate Pit Fighter sounds very much like Fight Club or like those underground like fight rings where it's like
Yeah.
bare knuckle, you don't talk about it, but it's like brutal. I don't know. That's just it's
So
just a thought.
that's an interesting part. Yeah, so that's the interesting part about Flesh and Blood. Considering the Flesh and Blood is idea is that you're a hero in a battlefield. They do the Ultimate Pit Fight. I've been calling it Fighter, but it's Ultimate Pit Fight. Um, they use these names to evoke that sort of battlefield uh, war feeling. So they have Ultimate Pit Fight. They have the skirmish is a type of event that they put on. Skirmish, battle hardened, that sort of thing. So that is very much on brand.
So it's supposed to be more visceral than like whimsical, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. They do have a set. They do have a set called Everfest, and that Everfest was meant to be slightly more whimsical. It's sort of like the party side of Wraith, which is the world that these characters inhabit or the heroes inhabit. There is a lot of lore behind the heroes in this game and the place they're from, the planet, and the continents and all that. There's a lot of backstory, a lot of world building attached to this game. Uh, it is. I love this game, but it is one of the things that haven't paid too much attention to, as much as I should, because I do love reading about lore and magic sometimes, and same with Flesh and Blood. Um, but I really want to read about Dash. Dash is one of my favorite characters in the game. Like her playstyle is very much the kind of playstyle that I like. Her deck is based around mechanologist cards, which are all sort of like steampunk style, and they all have the ability to chain attacks together, almost like a storm-like feeling. You go wide, you like attack with this, and then I attack with this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And you kind of keep going. So I really like that sort of gameplay.
Yeah, and
And
oh, and I was gonna say, and speaking of mechanologists, it kind of seems like one of the new, what are they, Blitz decks coming out with the round the table set. Looks like it is based on mechanologists, and that's actually the one that the
yeah,
professor from Tolarian Community College is centered around.
yeah, his card, the professor's card is called Professor Teklevosen,
I love that art.
which is yeah, it's like a Professor Teklovos is like some kind of genius inventor, that sort of thing. And yeah, mechanologist is such a great. It is so Flesh and Blood already been around for like 3 years or 4 years or something like that, and there's only like a handful of mechanologist cards. Every single hero keeps getting more and more cards, and every set there's more new heroes and classes that come out. But mechanologist hasn't had that break, so this aligns perfectly with the new pre-release for the new set called Bright Lights, and Bright Lights is just a mechanologist set. So
Oh,
I just bought into Dash like a little bit more than like 2 months ago or so. And I am excited that I get to upgrade my Dash deck and put new cards in and explore that a lot more.
yeah, and looking at the Bright
But
Light set, kind of looks like the kind of poster child hero for it is Teklevesin, and Teklevesin esteemed magnate, so the young and the older
yeah.
version, right?
Oh yeah.
So is that the same character as
Um
Professor Teklevesin?
let me see.
I'm
Let me
not trying to
pull
ask hard
those up.
questions.
Normally, or it is not the same version of it.
Okay.
It's completely different. Yeah, they have different abilities. So the professor's card is like I said earlier, is specifically designed for the ultimate pit fight format. So a lot of the cards in this set, before we get too far ahead of ourselves and talk about bright lights, a lot of the vast majority of the cards in this box set are designed for multiplayer play. So you're gonna see a lot of cards that say for each opposing hero, or deal damage to multiple heroes at the same time, that sort of thing. Another thing I should mention is that this whole thing, it comes with 4 decks, and they're all bundled together in a package with rubber playmats with the zones. It's gonna have a storage box in itself that it comes with, and this whole set is just $70 MSRP and coming out on September 29th. This is really, really cool because you don't seeing some of the cards, it I can tell that you don't necessarily need to just play against 3 other people or 2 other people. You can potentially play this 1v1, and I like that because 2 friends can just grab the box, buy the box, and then kinda just jam some games against each other and try different decks. Um, Another interesting thing about this set is that there are cards in this set that you can only get here right now. You have the Professor's card, obviously. You can
Hmm.
only get in this set. There are cards in the deck that you can only get in this set right now. There's a new character called Melody that is a bard. Bard is a class type that didn't exist before this set. This is the first time we've ever had a bard card. This is the first time we're seeing Melody as a card in itself, and who knows? Maybe it asks a lot of there's a lot of questions associated with
Yeah.
Melody. It's like, is this does this mean that Melody is just going to be a multiplayer format character? Or are we going to see like a competitive Melody card where it's just 1v1? What's going to happen with Melody moving forward? Brevant is a Guardian. Guardian previously existed. Guardian's been around. It's a class type that's been around since the beginning of Flesh and Blood. It's nice to see Brevant as an alternative to the usual Bravo or Oldhim, which are older Guardian characters. And him himself is going to have new cards as well associated with Brevant, and it will be interesting to see where they take Brevant moving forward as well. Now, the only repeat character that we're getting is Ira. It's the Ninja class type. Ninja is very popular in this game. Ira has been around, I want to say since Crucible, so maybe 2 3 years now. Ira is like the poster child for beginner Flesh and Blood players. It's so Legendary Story Studios created Ira and has been pushing Ira as a way to teach people how to play Flesh and Blood and how get them into the game. Um, Ira has a bunch of interesting about ninjas is that they have a lot of cards that work well together, and if you play them in a certain order, you get bonus effects for each of them. And Ira plays very well with that, and so that's really interesting to see. And Ira does come with new cards as well that you can only get in this set.
Yeah, I did notice going back to the how Ira is kind of the poster child and the almost gateway into learning how to play. According to the Flesh and Blood website here, local game stores who order around the table will also be getting a free carton of Ira welcome decks to pass through to new players.
Mhm.
Is that true? Have you guys gotten?
Yes,
Are you guys going to be getting those at Haven?
I hope so. We rely a lot on our distributors sometimes. Sometimes things get lost. But we should be getting this as these as well.
That's awesome.
And Ira is a great way to learn. Ninja in itself, Ninja really teaches you, or yeah, teaches you a lot of the basic mechanics of the game, like managing your resources, sequencing is really important in this game. Um, and um, yeah, teaches you how to play defensively with this game plan, that sort of thing.
Yeah, just looking at some ninja cards again, having not played a single game of Flesh and Blood in my entire life, very much looks like a very tempo-y type archetype almost. Like what you were saying
It can
earlier.
be.
It looks like there's a lot of like specific card orders that you want to get for the best effects. A
Mhm.
lot of cards that reference what appear to be other cards directly.
Yeah,
So that's not something I'm used to seeing a whole lot in things like Pokemon or Magic, but it is really really cool to see. And I
yeah.
forgot where I was going with the rest of that. So
No, so the beauty about Flesh and Blood is that it's less it's less luck based than a lot of the games that I played. I played so many card games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, you name it. I played Gundam with my little brother. We played we played Dog Hack Sign when that had a card game.
wow.
Naruto and Neopets, we played that. Um, and out of every game that I played, this is the less luck based game that I've ever played. Like, yeah, sometimes your draws don't line up against your opponent. That'll happen. But the fact that you don't rely on mana, so you're never mana screwed or mana flooded. Um, so we talked about Lorcana, and I mentioned how Lorcana is like a great gateway game for beginners. Because you never have mana screw, mana flood, because most of your cards can turn into lands or whatever.
Right.
Um, it's very similar with Flesh and Blood, but take Lorcana and push it to the other extreme of competitiveness, and you have Flesh and Blood. Which is part of the reason Flesh and Blood is doing stuff like the TCC, the round the table, is because they do want to appeal more to the casual crowd as well, because that's also an important part of the game of in the game's health and viability long term is that you also need a player base that is not just competitive players, but it's also casual and people who just want to play your game for the sake of playing it, just because they like it. But Flesh and Blood has been on the other end of the spectrum because it's less luck based. All of your cards do so many things. A lot of your cards pitch. You can your former resources come from the cards in your hand. A lot of your cards discard for resources.
which you can then use
So
to pay for other cards in your hand.
exactly,
Got it.
and those cards can also attack. Those cards can also defend. Those cards can also go on your arsenal, which means that you can set it aside for a future turn. And a lot of the game comes down to how you play these cards every single turn. How do you block? How do you attack? How do you use your resources? What card am I putting in my arsenal that I want to keep for later? Because this will happen to you, that you put a card in your arsenal thinking you're going to use it later, and then it stays there and you're stuck with it. And you keep looking at the card going like, why did I put this here? I hate this.
Yeah,
I don't I want to use it.
I hate having dead cards in my
um
hand in any game. Flesh and Blood
so
really
there's a lot of
does.
planning.
It really does seem like a game of like micro advantages.
Yeah, dude. Like the game swings can be big or they can be subtle.
Yeah.
The So many games. I don't think I've ever walked out of a game thinking, "Oh, I played perfectly. I just got unlucky. Like I got mana
Hmm.
screwed." No, there's never been a game like that. All my games have been, well, this turn like 20, 30 minutes ago that I could have just defended differently. I could have blocked with a different card instead and maximize damage some other way. That's the interesting part about Flesh and Blood. It's like every single decision does matter. Um,
And it really comes down to
I
who can
can't.
play better overall.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and honestly, I want to say 8 times out of 10, the better player is the one that comes out winning most of the time. But that said, we also have bright lights,
Oh
which we
yeah,
were just talking about.
got completely distracted.
So
While we're moving over to
yeah.
there, something you said like brought back a deep, deep memory from within my childhood. You mentioned playing the Neopets card game.
Oh yeah, I
Did
did
you
that.
did you hear they're bringing it back?
What?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, I gotta tell my brother about this.
Yeah, it's coming back as a new card game called Neopets Battle Dome because they just the so okay, I'm an avid Neopets player to this day. That's like my guilty pleasure. Uh, they the Neopets company, I believe it was called Jumpstart, just got bought out by like a longtime player who is now like just pumping money into the thing and going, "Hey, remember everything that made Neopets cool back in like the early 2000s? Let's do that again, but like with modern tech." And so they're already kind of previewing some of those like new cards, and like they have kind of that like confetti foil that's in Wilds of Eldraine on
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, some of these cards look insane. So I'm excited to see where that comes from because I will probably play that because
Yeah,
yeah.
apparently this is like a video game too.
What, Neopets?
The Battle Dome.
Oh yeah, it's a game within Neopets. I'm fighting Jetsam Ace every day to get those Nerc mids.
I love this. I gotta tell my brother about this because
Yeah.
he was. We were. I remember. We're digressing hard,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
but
but it's worth it.
but I remember when I was still in high school, we used to go to this game store that was at the mall, and they would this we're talking about like 2004, 2005. This is a long time
I
ago.
was
This is
8 or
back in
9
Puerto
then.
Rico. And me and my brother would get dropped off there. And I remember that my brother got really into it and he started playing against the owner of that store. And he was like the only one who would play the owner, my brother. And and I remember him getting a bunch of cards and me learning how to play. My brother and I got to play a little bit. I don't remember much about it at all right now, but I remember all the cards being adorable and
Yeah,
really
like
fun.
I never really learned how to play as a kid because I got them because I wanted the codes in the packs for the exclusive items on the site.
Oh yeah,
But
I
I've heard
remember
it.
those.
I've heard it's dumb fun, and I was actually looking into getting like an older booster box because you can still pick up a box for MSRP or less, like sealed,
What?
for some of the sets. And so I was like, one of these days, I'm just gonna have a hair and I'm gonna buy a box and learn how to play,
I was
and then
playing
have.
with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say the biggest roadblock from there is I would have had no one to play with. So,
You got me. Here you.
are you trying to share something on your
But
screen?
moving on, I was. Did it
Uh,
show?
no.
It's okay. So
I'll put something there.
we're
So
gonna have
moving
to
on.
cut this out now.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Anyway, uh, so bright lights. It's this is not a fab episode, by the way. I'm putting these on because this is coming out soon. Bright lights is a new set, like I mentioned for Flesh and Blood. It's all mechanologist based. All of the cards in the set are mechanologist. Um, and it's based on this side of Wraith, the world they inhabit, right? The game is based around, where everything is very steampunk. Everything is like high tech, run by Steam, and it's super interesting because everything else is very high fantasy ish, very greedy. This is like the only thing that they have that is like sci-fi, even close to sci-fi.
Yeah.
Um, there's gonna be like the big thing about mechanologist being about high tech stuff is that a lot of cards are gonna involve mech looking suits, and in this set they played around with the idea, but in this set they're gonna have all these little items that you can put together in card form that you can put together and form a giant mech, and you can equip it on your hero, and your hero just gets obviously a lot stronger and powerful, um and it'll have extra abilities and that sort of thing. It's super interesting. The big addition, or what makes this set even more special, is that this is the introduction of the extra pack spot that they have. So in the pack, there's going to be a card that is always going to be a reprint of an older set, and it's going to be. Let me see if I can find it. It was going to be
Say no.
either
That's a really
Majestic.
cool way to handle reprints is just slotting one into the newer sets.
Yes.
Yeah, Magic, take note.
Um, dude, like, so yeah, so it's gonna be two cards. It's gonna be two token cards, or one token and an expansion slot card, or a premium foil card such as extended art, legendary, or cold foil. Um, that instant interesting thing about the expansion slot card is that they're gonna reprint important cards like Findel Spring Tunic, for example. You don't know this,
No.
but Spring Tunic is an insanely it's an insanely popular card because it's a generic equipment. So equipment means that you start the game with it in play, attached to your hero, or to you. In this scenario, you're supposed to be your hero.
Right.
The thing about this card is that it's one of the few ways for this game to create free resources. So at the beginning of your turn, you put a counter on it. Um, then it has an ability where you remove three counters from it and you add one resource.
So the longer it sits out there, the more
Nothing else.
resources you can build up.
Yes, it can also block too. You can also use it to block, so
Oh,
you don't spend a card from your hand to block. So this card is extremely powerful in this game, especially when it's a game about minor edges, and having that mana advantage absolutely helps you. So this card is very powerful, and this card's been like $70, and the fact that it's It's been $70 to $120 for like since it was ever released. And the other thing about this card is that I mentioned it was generic. That means that any hero can play it. Because in this game, you built your deck around the class of your hero. So if your hero is mechanologist, all your cards have to be mechanologist or generic. So this equipment, any hero can use. So it's why it's been so expensive this entire time.
So do you think getting reprinted in kind of a bonus slot is going to tank that price a little bit?
I don't think so. It's been reprinted twice now.
Oh,
Uh,
and obviously
the
that hasn't done
second
anything
time,
to it.
yeah, it dropped the price a little bit. It made it slightly more accessible. And the beautiful thing about equipment is that you only really need one. So the moment you spend that $70, that's you don't have to buy three more copies of it like you normally would at Magic or something like that. You just need the one. So
That
it's
makes
a
sense.
one-time investment for this card. That being said, the first time it got reprinted, it was white bordered, and the card went down to $70-$80, which is the lowest it's been. So being an expansion slot means that there won't be too many out in circulation, but it does mean that it's slightly more accessible. So I don't think that it'll affect the prices too much, but the fact that people have more chances to open it means that it'll be more accessible.
Hey, more accessibility is always a good thing, especially for game pieces that honestly are in some decks probably required to run properly. And with this
Yeah.
being as useful as it sounds, I think if I were a Flesh and Blood player, I'd be taking any reprint that it can.
Yeah, for these cards. And they're not just reprinting Findo. That's the one example that they gave. They're gonna
Yeah.
be reprinting key cards that need reprints. So I'm expecting to see Command and Conquer, which is still a $75 card. It's also been reprinted twice. um, and Light and Strike is also like a $45 card, which also been printed twice. so, so I'm hoping to see these again. Another big thing about this set is that this is the introduction of a format called Crack Shuffle Play. This is the jumpstart analog that Magic has, but for Flesh and Blood. This means that with starting with this set, you can buy 3 packs of this set, open them up, take out the tokens, and you're gonna shuffle them all those packs together and just play. Your token includes your equipment and hero and stuff like that. So you can have 2 people just buy 3 packs each and just jam games together out of the without having to like really think about it. And I think that's a really, really cool addition to this.
Yeah, I know it worked really well with Jumpstart. Just being able to buy like a couple packs and then have a deck ready to go, and there's no thought, just play. Um, it seems like a really fun
Yeah,
format.
Jumpstart's been insanely popular and it's probably one of my favorite new ideas that they came up with.
Yeah,
I kind of wish they hadn't uh
turned it
done
into
it
set
for every
boosters
single set.
or like theme boosters.
No, so they tried to do Jumpstart with every single set. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know if you know this, but Lord of the Rings was supposed to have Jumpstart packs too. But it was like Lord of the Rings Jumpstart packs.
Obviously they didn't
Yeah,
because I don't
they
think
did it
I've
for
seen
that.
any of those.
I don't remember if they did it with Wilds of Eldraine, but the thing about these Jumpstart packs is that nobody really cares about them unless they're like Jumpstart. The first time they did Jumpstart and Jumpstart 2022 because they had like the best reprints. They had Ristic
Yeah.
Study. They had all Crater Hoof, Behemoth, and stuff like that. So
Oh, they did. They
uh,
did actually have the Lord of the Rings Jumpstart packs like fully. I didn't
they
realize
did.
that they actually came out.
Yep.
I
No
think
one
the.
cared about them except when they did like this event with them where
Hmm.
we gave out the dice bags with the Lord of the Rings dice. That's the only time people cared about the Jumpstart packs.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, looking at the Wizards website, it makes sense because compare it to like the two main Jumpstart sets, the ones where it's specifically just Jumpstart, not kind of a supplement to another like standard or eternal set. Um, these like Lord of the Rings ones here, there's 5 versions of packs So like there's 5 monocolor themes and 2 versions of each of
So
those
many.
themes. So you're getting one of like basically what 10 predetermined packs, and
Mhm.
for what I can see, none of them are really that good or give you your value back. So why would you buy into it? But then you look at like Jumpstart 2022, or was it 23? Um,
22 and 2.
yeah, 22, where it's like, oh, here's some like cool brand new like mechanically unique cards and some insane reprints that you can play in a very limited format. Like if they if they took Jumpstart and treated it with as much care as they gave like the first set and then the second main set, I think they would see a lot more success with it. But
Um,
as it
I've always
stands,
complained about this about Wizard. They always the thing about Wizards is that they strike gold with an idea, and they know it's gold, and then they just wanna milk it for as much as they can,
yeah,
and that's when they ruin it because it's never quite the same as the first time they did it. Like, they don't understand why it was gold the first time. They just think, "Oh, it's because it's called Jumpstart or whatever, because of the how you build the 2 decks. That's what makes it gold." It's not really. It made it gold because you made it an easy a way for you made a way that is easier to enter the game with. Like,
yeah,
you can have 2 people off the street who've never played Magic, have them buy 2 Jumpstart packs and teach them with that. That's the value of Jumpstart. And you have something for those that are starting out, and you have something for those who have been longtime players that
and
have a new way
established.
to play, and they also get really cool rare cards, right?
Yeah, like pulling a
Mystic
Ristic
Study,
Study.
Cradle
Yeah,
of Kahima, Allosaurus Shepherd.
yeah.
Like, those cards exist because of Jumpstart.
Don't forget Exquisite Blood was also in Jumpstart at one point.
Yeah. They don't
Yeah,
exist because of Jumpstart, but they're very popular also thanks to Jumpstart because more of these cards are able to fall into people's hands who want them. Mystic Study, for example, is like so sought after. Everybody wants one for the commander
yeah.
deck or what have you.
And then
But yeah, so
they did it
going
in each
back,
Jumpstart. Oh yeah,
yeah,
we're getting way
so
off
going back
task.
to Bright Lights, going back to Bright Lights, yeah, that's the beauty of this. That Flesh and Blood is trying to do the same thing with the way with its spin to it, and I welcome it. I love Jumpstart, and I want to see how that fares here. I'm probably gonna do it myself. I'm definitely gonna buy 3 packs, smash them together, and play it against someone.
Well, and I think what makes
Um,
this, in my opinion, from a surface level, a better idea than even Jumpstart did, is this is just 3 packs of the newest set, right? Like it is just three
yeah,
bright lights packs. So even if you're brand new, like I would be if I did this, I could just shuffle up,
yeah.
play with 3 random packs, and then if I'm established, I'm probably gonna be buying packs anyway. Might as well get some
Yeah.
use out of them. That
Which, by the way,
oh,
in Haven Games, we sell those packs for $3.99 or 3 for $10 plus tax, which amounts to $10.84. So if you get these 3 packs for $10.84, you can play with somebody else who also spent $10.84, which is probably one of the lowest rates you're gonna find.
nice plug.
So thank you. Now
So
that being said, a little more one more tidbit about Bright Lights. The pre-release is happening on October 1st for us, which is a Sunday at 2 p.m. I should mention that up there. We'll be talking more about Bright Lights the closer it gets to it. We'll explore the spoiler a little bit. I'm gonna teach Tristan a little bit more about Flesh and Blood because this is his first time really talking about it.
uh-huh.
Um, if people have any questions about Flesh and Blood, please reach out to me. We have a pretty good community for Bright Lights. Not Bright Lights for Flesh and Blood. Sorry, we have a pretty good community that gets together on Monday nights at 6:30. They're all very helpful. They're all very passionate about the game. So they're competitive, but I love that they're passionate because it makes it so that they are a lot more inclined to help others get into the game instead of scaring them away with their like getting too sweaty about it or what
Yeah.
have you. That is my favorite part. I have sung praises about this community. They've been fantastic. They're good people. So I would like to see this community grow for this game. we have capped around 15 players once. I would like to see that grow more. Uh, Regular attendance is closer to 8 people, and I would like to see more. It's a phenomenal game, and us as a store from Legendary Story Studios, we're getting a lot more support events wise. We get skirmishes, we get pre-releases, and this is a segue to announce our ProQuest. A ProQuest is how you qualify for the Pro Tour, and we are getting another one after they skipped us on for ProQuest 3 for season 3 basically. Um so we got ProQuest 4. This is the fourth qualifier season that they're doing, and we got allocated one. It's a booster draft. It's going to be on October 22nd. Registration starts at 11 p.m., or you can pre-register through our website once we have it up, and which should be going up before September ends. And I am insanely excited to have a ProQuest again. This means a lot, man, because they usually look at metrics that other stores get in the city areas. So for a long time, they've been giving mostly ProQuest to stores in St. Louis and Kansas City, higher traffic areas, higher density, or more populated areas, for example.
Not backwater Missouri like us.
No. So the fact that little game store in Nixa, Missouri gets to have a ProQuest is it's really exciting and awesome, and I'm really excited about this. So we don't have all the details for this yet. I want to do the usual $25 plus cash prices, but we'll see. We might shake things up again, because God knows we like shaking things up. Um, yeah. Any closing thoughts on Flesh and Blood, sir?
No, outside of I have my interest peaked, and I will be asking you a lot more questions about Flesh and Blood, not on camera.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I
speaking of
think
shaking it up,
go ahead.
oh yeah, sorry, I was gonna say, speaking of shaking it up, we have Pokemon 151 we still need to talk about.
My dude, I need to tell you something about Pokemon 151.
Yeah,
This set comes out on September 22nd, right?
yeah, that's right around the corner.
And yes, and the crazy thing about Pokemon 151 is that I've had pre-orders pending since June already.
That makes sense.
People
Just looking at these cards, they're insane.
people are so excited for this set that people have skipped over completely over Obsidian Flames that came out in August. People kept calling. It's like, hey, you got any Pokemon 151? It's like, dude, that comes out in September, and there's a set coming out before that.
Yeah.
Slow down, slow down. Like, so many people, and I still have some pre-orders open for anyone who's still interested. But people are so excited about this because Pokemon 151 is strictly Pokemon
Gen 1.
from the first generation. So it's all literally 151. It's from Bulbasaur to Mewtwo and Mew and that sort of thing. It's like peak nostalgia.
Yeah, and trying to get it pulled up here. Some of the alternate arts are just so gorgeous. One thing to note though is this is the first time in what 20 years that they've printed a Kadabra card.
Yes, that
Because
is also huge.
yeah, we've not gotten Kadabra because of lawsuit reasons. Um, so I guess they
Yeah,
cleared
I
that up
know.
because now they're printing a Kadabra card. Which I assume
I don't know if you knew this, but they won the lawsuit.
I did not know that. I hadn't heard anything until I saw the set was coming out and just went, oh, I guess they're printing Kadabra, or they're just ignoring
Yeah,
them.
the lawsuit has been ongoing for nearly 20 years now.
Yeah,
Like, so long, and they won that lawsuit, and that happened. I want to say it was recent. I don't know if it was like last year or something. I remember reading about how they won the lawsuit, and so it's really cool to see Kadabra back again because I don't know
Kadabra's your
about you, but
favorite, right? Yeah.
Abra is my favorite. Like little Abra. A tiny little Abra.
My question is why didn't they just use Ditto for Kadabra cards up until now?
That's a good question.
Maybe it
Just
would still be too
put
close.
its little goofy face.
Yeah. Just be like, yeah, no, we changed it. Here you go. It's legally not Kadabra. It's Ditto, but we're gonna treat it as
Yeah,
Kadabra. Um,
dude, I want that Abra so bad. They
yeah,
have
the
they.
art on this one is like what they went back to that like clay style for it, didn't they?
It's so adorable, dude.
Yeah. Oh no, they didn't do the clay style like I was thinking, but like the full arts of these sets are I say full arts like the full set itself, not the full art cards.
Yeah. I
They've
like
got
that
like
that Abra is almost like an exact copy of the original one. It's
hmm
side shot 20 damage, or I think the original one was 10 damage, but it's side shot
Oh my gosh. So
10 attack.
I've been looking through the set pre-show and uh right now I'm looking through it. Some of these cards are actually good. Like it seems like it's like whenever the Pokemon Company announces a set like Pokemon 151 or like the 20th anniversary set or stuff like that where it's like obviously like they're trying to pander to a certain generation of fans. Um Normally those sets kind of come across as collectible primarily and playing pieces secondary. I'm not getting
Yeah.
as much of that in this one. Like Venusaur EX looks pretty good.
I don't
Um,
know. You also get it's got a this is what I like about Pokemon is that Pokemon Company in general, like the people who designed the game, the card game, they really have the whole collectability play
yeah,
down, right, versus play. They have it down. Like you see a lot of these cards, their art is getting more and more beautiful as time goes on. A lot of their full arts look better. A lot of their trainer galleries, which they call illustrated rares or
yeah, they changed the name
illustration
before
rares now.
this gen.
Yeah. So they look so nice. Like right now I'm looking at this Caterpie.
Yeah,
Like this Caterpie is gorgeous. It's just a Caterpie, but it's so pretty.
yeah, like they're going hard on Pokemon that most people don't care about. Like, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be like that oddball Caterpie fan. Sorry if you're a Caterpie fan. Um, but like, yeah, no, like I don't know, they're taking Pokemon I never really considered too much, like Rattata here, and it's like, oh wow, Rattata's actually a really cute Pokemon. Or like,
This is not a hot take. I'm gonna give you a hot take, but it's not a hot take because
oh,
this is literally what's probably gonna happen. But if you scroll down even further, there's the special illustration rare Pokemon cards. If you look at that Charizard, I can guarantee you this Charizard is gonna be over $100.
well,
Like out of the
yes,
bat, it's probably gonna be closer to 200.
yeah, it's Charizard. They always go for a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Like it's
that
ridiculous.
that illustration rare Ammonite though, I think is probably my favorite art in the set because it's just. And I'll post in post production. I'll put one of those on screen so the viewers can see on YouTube. But it's so subtle. Like Ammonite almost kind of blends into the
Oh yeah.
background.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah. I can see it, and it's like swimming there with an almost star on top of it, and
Uh
they're
huh.
or like above it rather, and then there's like the Kabuto next to it. That's so
Yeah,
pretty.
like it gives you like um what was it called? The Cambrian explosion kind of gives you like
Hmm.
Cambrian eras. I kept wanting to say Cambodian, but I knew that was a country. not not yeah. So segueing out of that stupid
Uh,
comment. um
I'm face palming so hard.
the other one I really like is the Psyduck illustration rare. Again for its simplicity. It's
Oh
just yeah, he's just taking a little stroll.
yeah, he's walking down the stairs with his hands on his head.
Yeah. I don't know. The set itself
I
seems
absolutely love this.
yeah, this whole set seems fun, and there seems to be some really good like playable pieces, like leftovers. It seems like a really good tool card that's going to be seeing some sort of play. I'm not sure in what archetypes right now, but there's going to be play for it because I mean, healing 20 damage from a Pokemon every turn seems pretty good. Um, like I said earlier, I think
I don't
Venusaur
know, man.
EX is going to be super playable because being able to heal 60 as an ability and also be a tank and a beater all in one uh, seems like a
Ooh.
really good payoff for grass type decks. Because, like,
It's though so interesting fact is that these EXs are the ones with the highest HP that I've seen yet.
yep,
I might be mistaken, but Venusaur itself is like the one EX with 340
yeah,
HP, which
yeah,
is so high right now for an EX, especially like people are already playing rare candy decks so
yeah.
hard just to get like rare PG rare candy Pidgeot and the Charizards and all these like Pidgeot is an absurdly powerful card. I don't know if you played against that, but I
I have.
got wrecked one game. Like when you can tutor anything you want every single turn, and it's it was it
Yeah,
was very powerful. So I can totally see these EXs seeing like Venus or EX can also play with Gardenia's Vigor,
yeah. Well,
which lets you draw two cards and put two energies attached down on a Pokemon
and it goes so well into poison strategies too, because its only attack poisons and confuses your opponent's active Pokemon, and does
after
150 damage.
150 damage. Yeah,
And
that's really
that's
strong.
after you just used its ability to heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon, which can include itself. Like, you're gonna have
Yeah,
such a hard time killing this thing.
knocking it out. We don't say kill in this game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Knocking out the Venusaur, fainting it.
Exactly.
It's
They
gonna
don't go to a graveyard. They go to a discard pile. Tristan.
discarded just like Ash's Charmander. Uh, but yeah, no,
So
the this Venusaur seems like an absolute wall to get through.
yeah, I love that. But another thing I should cover about the product wise.
Oh yeah,
Um, so this set, like I mentioned, comes out on September 22nd, and there's a second wave coming on October 6th. Now, one more thing about this is that there's a lot of people not very aware about this, but it's the fact that Pokemon 151 will not have booster boxes. So that
oh
means that there's not going to be like individual packs for resale. You can only get the packs in Elite Trainer boxes, in special tins, and collector. They do collector boxes, which usually have a card on the front and like an assortment of packs. So usually for a set like this, you'll have your assortment of packs is going to be like 4 packs of Pokemon 151 or 5 packs or 6 packs and so on. That is very important. Like I mentioned, we do have stuff still for pre-sale. Call us anytime. Email us if you want to reserve something on ETB or what have you. Like it's we will try to get as much product as we can for this set because this is going to be insanely popular.
yeah,
Um, and a lot of these cards, like you said, seem very playable. And we'll definitely talk more about the spoiler as the closer it gets to September 22nd.
yeah. Because
Um,
this set looks. I don't want to say bonkers in a playable sense, but there are a lot of cards that are going to be slotting into things already in the meta, or even new archetypes getting created from cards in this set. Um,
yeah, no, and but yeah, so we're what 15 minutes to go, 15 20 minutes.
yeah, we've got a little bit of
I
time.
would like We mentioned pre-releases already, and one pre-release that already happened was Waltz of Eldraine. And I don't know about you, but I got to play in the pre-release a little bit.
I did not, but I
Have
got
you
to open
played
a
yet?
box.
Oh,
Um,
was it a good box?
it was a good box. We got so my wife first pack she pulled, and we opened it in Haven when Nate was there. He was the one who sold it to us. Nate and Ellie from now on are choosing my boxes because they always get us the cracked pulls. Anime Art Smothering Tithe first pack.
Whoa!
I was like, oh yeah, and she just she didn't know what she had, so she just like announced it basically. She was like, oh, this is a cute Smothering Tithe, and then next thing you know, we have a bunch of people like, hey, you looking to trade? And she's like, no, this is going in a deck.
I
But yeah,
find it so odd that they did the anime style for this set because it seems out of the left field a little.
yeah, like I love that smothering tithe, but it has nothing to do with smothering or tithing.
Yeah, like the Enchanting Tales one, the non-anime ones, they seem like it makes sense.
Yeah,
The anime style seems out of the left field, and a lot of them don't even feel fairy tale like either. So
yeah,
I felt that was kind of a weird uh, uh, art decision,
yeah.
art
It
direction that they took.
it
But
was, but they also know waifu
they're
cards
awesome.
sell, and I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
So I have nowhere to really talk. I did get to explain to my wife why Necropotence is a very good card. Because we pulled it and she was like, "This seems bad," and I was like, "You would be wrong. Necropotence will get you killed most of the time if you see it on your
He didn't
opponent's
say
board."
it that way. He was a lot kinder about it.
No, I said it that way. But no, honestly, like getting to open it and see cards, like I didn't even know Soul Guide Lantern got reprinted, and we literally talked, like we were
Mhm.
looking at the spoiler together and like talking about it for hours at this point.
Yeah.
Um, it's honestly one of my favorite sets that we've had in a really long time.
Dude, same here. The draft portion. So I did play the pre-release, and I had a ton of fun. There was a lot of building decisions that I had to make.
Hmm.
I started one way and then ended up another. Um, so in my pool, my first two booster packs were the rare bunnies. It was like the
Oh,
Regal Bunny corn, and there's another
that was in my top five last
bunny.
episode
So
for viewers of last episode.
yeah. No, absolutely. And the other one was the adventure one. I forget its name.
Hold
I'm
on.
looking for it so that I can
Is it a white
plug
card?
it in. Yeah, okay. The Pollen Shield Hair, which is a 2/2 for 2 creature
Oh.
tokens you control get +1/+1,
Hmm.
and it has the its sorcery adventure side of it is target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X until a turn where X is the number of creatures you control. I almost played those two cards together, and I was gonna play white green with a splash of blue because I opened green blue land, creature land, um, which by the way is also very good.
Yeah.
But I'll get to that in a bit. But that being said, that's where I started, and the more I thought about it, I was like, man, my green's is really good. And then I looked at my red cards and had a couple rares in red, and one of them was the Godric Cloaked Reveler. 3/3 for 3 haste celebration, which means that
Oh.
um, if two if two or more null impermanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, Godric Cloaked Reveler is a dragon with base power and toughness for 4 flying, and you can pay 1 red, and dragons you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. So
Yeah.
I got that, and I thought, ooh, this is sweet.
Yeah.
There was I had like 2 pieces of removal in green with 2 good combat tricks like Titanic Growth and there was one that gives your creature a royal roll and then hexproof, and the roll token gives it +1/+1 and ward 1. That card's very good too.
Yeah.
Um, so I played that and had another really good rare, which in draft isn't as exciting, but the more I played it in the pre-release, the more I was like, oh, this card will be seeing a lot of standard play or even pioneer play. Um, oh man, I can't find it. It's a 2 mana mouse. There it is. Raging Battle Mouse. 2/1 for 2. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. And if 2 or more null impermanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And
Dang.
this happens at the beginning of combat. So I had this. I had a Green Saga that it's chapter 1 puts a 3/3. Chapter 2 it lets you sacrifice a creature and then search for another
Oh,
creature in your deck
the
or
Huntsman
basic land.
Redemption.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then chapter 3 you give 2 creatures +2/+2 trample. So those rares were all very powerful. Like the
Yeah.
Huntsman Redemption by itself gives you 2 permanents to activate Godric or the Battle Mouse. and you play your fourth land, you can play Battle Mouse and the enchantment, and suddenly you have the two triggers. You pump whatever other creature you had already in play.
I'm so
The
glad I
Huntsman
didn't get to
Redemption will
fight.
be
I'm so glad I didn't get to play against that deck.
dude. So I started 2-0, and it's when I realized that the Battle Mouse was kind of busted. Like the
Yeah,
card, it's not broken by any means or whatever, but I think this is a legitimately good card that should see some constructed play.
yeah.
And there was a lot of games where I had that redemption, and I will sacrifice a creature, and I will get this. I think it's an uncommon. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with reach
Is
with
it?
menace. It's a 5/4 for 5. It's two-headed hunter. It has menace, but it
Oh,
has twice the rage adventure side of it. It's an instant that gives your creature double strike. So I could sacrifice the creature and get the hunter and use it to double strike. And I would double strike after my enchantment popped, and I give two creatures +2/+2 and trample, and then suddenly they were dead. Like
so
the game, the deck was really really good. I had tons of good removal, tons of good creatures. Um, I didn't have bombs per se, but I had like good cards overall, so they lined up well against my opponent's cards. And my promo card was the 3/4 for 3 that lets you put an adventure card from your exile to your hand, puts the adventure card in exile from your opponents to the bottom of their deck, and then exiles a graveyard, and you can do all three. And there was a game where I did all three, and it was such a blowout. It was so good. Because the adventure card that they had was a rare adventure card that draws them a card, and it's like the 3/2 for 2 green creature with trample.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was so powerful. It was a good deck. I started 2-0, and then I had to drop because we had a player had to go because they were feeling sick, and so we had an uneven number, and
and you didn't want to buy.
I was conceding to my opponents anyway because I wanted them to get all the packs.
Right.
And so I was like, I'll drop that way. It's still an even number. But after the pre-release, we did like a headhunt where people will sit down, do a best of one, and try to win a pack off of me. Only one person got a pack from me, but their deck was their deck was like 6 rares in their colors,
Oh, yeah. So
which was kind of weird. But
speaking of 6 rares in color, not quite that good, but I have gotten a chance to do some. I call them pseudo drafts because they're online using draft sim with random people on Reddit. Um, but you can do. I believe the website we were using is called DraftPod specifically. So you guys
yeah.
can use like the same draft seed, so you can pass the packs around to each other virtually. It's just like drafting on like Arena, but for sets that maybe like Arena or Moto isn't currently supporting. Um, I
Oh.
was able. I pulled pack one and Imodane the Pyrohammer, who is she's the red legend that whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature and deals damage to that creature, she deals that much damage to each opponent.
Oh.
So I first picked her because I was like, that seems pretty good. There's a lot of like decent burn in this deck, and
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 picks later, after I'd picked up like a like torch, what was it, torch the tower, um, and like stone splitter bolt. I was past another one.
Oh.
So I went all in on the mono red creature burn. It was it was like just because I mean two Imodanes the Pyrohammer in a 40 card deck, you're gonna see one. Um, and all the
That's
good burn
that,
spells are like common and uncommon.
that was one of my big takeaways out of this pre-release is that red felt very very powerful in this set.
There's a lot of good
Um,
payoffs,
I, yeah, I think the weakest color to me, it was white, seemed pretty weak to me. It has some like really strong mythics and rares, like
but it's
the white virtue is
or the
insanely
Moonshaker
powerful.
Cavalry. Like it really is mythic or bust
Yeah,
for white. It seems.
Yeah, and I felt blue was kind of there. It has a lot of good card selection. Normally, I actually played a splash of blue, of course,
right, because you always play a splash of blue.
which yeah, but I opened the land and I was in green, and I was like, if I just put an island, and I had two evolving wilds, I was like, if I just put an island in here, I could get away with it. And it did came up. It did come up where I activated my creature land a couple times, and I just won every time.
Yeah.
There was a game where they cursed a creature, so I just had a 1/1, and I needed to get through enough damage this turn, and I went, oh, I animate my land, attack with the 1/1, and with a trigger, I will turn the 1/1 into a 3/3 with trample. Um, so timestamp order, it means that now it's a 3/3 until end of turn.
Hmm.
And so both my creatures had trample, and they were like, "Oh, they got trample? Well, I guess I'm dead." So it was so good. That land was very strong.
We are approaching on the hour, so I just wanted to say one thing before we kind of go into closing remarks here. Last time I said I was very mid on the man lands. After playing with the set,
Creature lands.
yeah, the creature lands. After playing with the set, I want to publicly admit I was wrong. Um, Restless Spire is a good card, uh, and so is Restless Cottage. Uh, they
Four,
are,
four, for 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
that exiles cards from a graveyard and makes you food. Who knew? It would have been good. Um, I didn't know that. I was wrong.
I It's kind of weird because I actually like these a little bit better than the
Battle for
are they
Zendikar
Midnight
ones.
Hunts?
Oh,
Oh, the monocolored ones. The Den of the Bugbear and
the Adventures in the Forgotten
well,
Realms.
yeah, thank you. So I like these a little better than those because like the Restless Cottage will always come into play tapped.
Right.
The black one from that set
If
only
it,
comes into play tapped if it's like
your
the land
third,
after the number 2 or
yeah, if it's your third or later
and
land.
yeah, so it makes sequencing your lands a little awkward sometimes. Um and it's strong, but for the same mana cost, you have a 4/4, and it fixes your mana better because you're not relying on a monocolored land.
Yeah.
So I like these a little bit more, and I already have a list for standard drafted up. I was previously some time ago I was playing a blue red deck with uh with a lot of artifact mana, Might Stone and Weak Stone. Your top end is like
Yeah.
Cityscape Leveler, and there's another creature that's like an M mana creature with there's this ability, the artifact ability where you pay less mana and you have like a smaller version of itself. I forgot the name of it,
Is
but I
it?
love the card.
Oh, I had a name and then I lost it. I keep thinking of
Yeah,
the mechanic prototype.
that's it. Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
prototype. I don't remember what the creature was, but it makes you pay 5 mana, red mana, and you play it, and it's a 2/2, but you make like two more copies of itself. But if you pay the full cost, it's a 4/4, and you get two more 4/4s. And they all have haste. So this card is very, very strong. So I had played that deck forever ago. It kind of just fell off the map and people forgot about it, but apparently it started top 80 again. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm putting Restless Spire full playset into this deck. And 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 there was like there's the Iron Crag, the 2 mana um artifact that it's like the sword on the stone, and you tap it
Oh,
for mana.
is that in this set? That's not in this set.
Yeah.
Is it?
So
Oh no, it
I
is.
want to
It
test it.
is. Okay, I thought that was in the OG.
So
Yeah, that
I
seems
think
really
this
good.
card is very strong.
Yeah.
I think it's got a lot of potential. I believe it should. I believe it'll slot well into like some kind of pioneer Eldrazi deck with Matter Reshapers and Thought Seers and Reality Smashers, Warping Wells, that sort of thing. Um, I'm excited to try it. I think Iron Crag is great. The Raging Battle Mouse, play with it try it out. Try it in Pioneer and the
Yeah,
new the deck with the 4 Reckless Impulse and the 4 Ren's Resolve.
I think
Like
Celebration as a
being able,
whole is just going to be very strong in the
not
coming
only that,
months.
but the battle mouse makes it so that your second spell is one less mana. So
Hmm.
playing Reckless Impulse for 1 mana has got to be really good.
Oh, I didn't even think
Um,
about Reckless Impulse,
yeah.
and that also hits Ren's
So
Resolve and oh, mono.
your burn spells are cheaper. Playing Lightning Strike for 1 mana is
It's just more bolt.
kind of like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, it's just a lightning bolt. Maybe that would be interesting to see in like a Pioneer Burn deck because I mean Pioneer Burn exists, right? It's just not
Yep.
nearly as consistent as basically any other format because you are lacking like lightning bolt.
So you're looking at, I think the curve, the ideal curve, kind of that I'm thinking about is that you play the 1 mana saga, the Kumano faces
Yeah,
Kakazan.
the one that pings
You
your
start
opponent.
there, turn one. Yeah, turn one, you play that. Turn two, chapter two makes it so that your next creature gets a 1/1 counter. So you play Battle Mouse.
Yep,
Now it's a 3/2,
for two.
and then turn three, the Kakazan flips into a 2/2, but it exiles and comes back with haste. So
Yep.
that's your first non-land permanent that comes into play. So if you play one more, your battle mouse pumps something for one, and then you also play two spells. So you can play like play with fire and then lightning strike. And this turn you're dealing 3, 6, 9, 11 damage. Turn
Yeah,
three.
yeah, that seems pretty
Magical
good.
Christmas Light, but it's very possible. Like it
Yeah,
seems very strong. And in standard, you have Ren's Resolve too. So
you know what? That you've inspired me. After we're done recording here in a
I
few,
think
I think
I
I'm going to
think there's a
probably brew
mono
some
red deck
stuff.
somewhere.
Yeah, there's got to be,
Yeah,
and I definitely think Raging Battle Mouse is going to be at the center of it.
yeah. And I can see it in Monastery Swift Spear decks and with Prowess decks and Pioneer as well.
I like me some Monastery Swiss Spear.
Yeah.
So, but
Uh, well, any before we end, do you have any other things you want to add? And then I'll just talk about the upcoming events and as a reminder.
no, not really. I was just gonna start going into the upcoming events.
Well, I would like to add that I think next week we have a few RCQs coming up. There's the So 16th, we have the Carson Stripes RCQ, which is going to be modern, I believe. Yeah, it has to be modern because it's modern season.
Yep.
And then that's a Saturday, and then Sunday, our store Haven Games is going to have another RCQ, also modern. So next time we're probably going to talk a little bit about modern, about tier 1 decks and stuff, and get into that and in preparation for that. I don't know how much we're going to talk about it, but we'll definitely will. Um, Other than that, we have the Pauper Shindig still on Sunday, September 24th. We still have spots open for that. We mentioned the Bright Lights pre-release for Flesh and Blood on October 1st. We talked about Pokemon 151 coming out. We talked about the ProQuest in October, uh, which I can't play in because I'm the organizer, but I will
Wah, wah.
definitely be I'll definitely be playing some games and gonna talk about my insights on where the metagame is and sort of give that competitive edge. Don't forget that you can pre-register for a lot of these events on Haven or at haven-games.com/events-1
Link in the description
and
below.
link in the description below. Now, one last thing. We did take your feedback seriously, which is why we're doing Haven Cast instead of the alternative. Um, I heard complaints about how dry my hand sounds, so now I carry this everywhere,
You
which
should
is
have
my
seen.
lotion.
You should have seen how concerned he was about the lotion before recording. He he left for like a solid 2 minutes to go hunt that down, and we had like a 5 minute discussion about how people kept telling him that his hands were too
Too
most.
dry.
Yeah, I think it was mostly Ellie, uh, who you'll see
She
if you
might be
go into
just
the
trying to
store.
be. She might just be trying to help me with my own skin issues because
She's trying to subtly tell
I
you
do
that your
suffer
hands
from it.
are too rough.
Yeah. So so we listened to that feedback. We try to cut it a little shorter instead of 100 instead of an hour 20 minutes or so. We're trying to keep it to an hour. Um, we have we got through it pretty well. Everything we wanted to talk about, we did, which I'm very happy about. Um, Let me see what else I wanted to other feedback that we heard of. Oh, we changed the music. As you probably heard by now.
Or at
We
least I
like
hope
it
you
more.
heard.
Assuming the Tristan did his job and put the music in.
Yeah, and who knows? If you see this raw, something's happened to me, and Chris is the culprit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not technologically savvy for some things, so it's we probably had Elliot upload it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. That's this is to show that we do listen to feedback. Anything or anything at all that you would like us to talk about, we'll welcome the feedback. Anything we could do better, stuff like that. I also didn't turn the light on because the last time I turned the light on, it was too bright. So what I might do is put a little lamp or something, or one of those streamer lights that they do.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
like
where
get
to
like
put
one of
it
get like one of those ring lights from behind your webcam to light up your
exactly.
face. Yeah, there you go. See,
Exactly.
I just
Not
use
make
my
it too bright.
monitor. But
That's what I'm using right now. But you have a little light in the back.
oh,
I don't
true.
have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we really do appreciate all the kind words that were given to us and the support that we got on the first episode. It really means a lot. Honestly, every little interaction and comment um, makes us feel great about doing this, and we just can't thank you guys enough. So I think without further ado,
Yeah.
we should probably call this one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And one more thing, if you have any questions, just let us know. And one more thing. But Tristan,
yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but when you move in with someone into the same house or apartment
Mm-hmm.
and they have kids, your spoons disappear.
What?
Every time I look into that drawer, there's less spoons in the drawer, but none of them are in the sink. Where do they go?
I think you need to start checking under some mattresses. Somebody's hoarding spoons. All right.
I had to buy a whole new set of spoons, Tristan. I that's $2 out of my wallet to make spoons appear again in the drawer.
I'm putting this right in the front of the video so no one knows what we're talking about until the very end.
That works. This
Okay.
could be the intro, the new intro start.
Yeah. But that was episode 2, guys. We appreciate you coming out and listening to us on whatever platform you're listening to it on. We'll see you guys next week.
We love you.
Bye.